making a whole long discussion.
It was very deep and insightful, but we were missing all of it. So sorry to
know.
interrupt.
How tragic. We can only laugh. So I'm going to give the synopsis, the short version of it. It began with me telling a story about this morning, about how my freedom was limited in the lockdown. We're not allowed to walk or move here in South Africa outside of our homes. And I tried to go for a walk and was nearly arrested. Believe it or not, the police were trawling the streets at that time. I was just going to get groceries. So what I was talking about is this idea of freedom and the difference between freedom and limitations within our bodies and physically and our physical world, and those of the mind. So, and that leads us to our theme for this week, which is Astavakrasana, the pose, which is a balancing pose. It literally means 8 bends or 8 limbs posture. And the story behind it is super interesting. I'll be talking about it on Sunday. And it is drawn from an esoteric and mystical historic text called the Astavakrasana Gita. And so we all know the Bhagavad Gita, and this is a shorter, more esoteric Vedic text. And it follows the life of a character who's born with 8 deformities. And it follows how he overcomes in his life the limitations that he very much deals with every day in having 8 curves or deformities in his body. And what he learns over time, and this is the point of our classes this week and themes, is that that our freedoms and our freedom and limitation is predominantly within the mind. So we always have limitations in our physical world and in our bodies, and our true freedom comes from mind and mindset. So so we're going to be working towards a peak pose and a variation today as well of the Astavakrasana. And we're also going to be focusing on how we can get out of our minds and into our bodies, move away from self-limiting thoughts and thoughts that hold us back in the practice, and try to flow with our bodies. So apologies for the slightly late start, having to say that twice, but let's begin. So come to sit comfortably on your mat in your Sukhasana seat. If you need a cushion or something underneath your bum, then to help elevate and soften into the groins and hips to be comfortable, then please do use that now. And you can just gently bring your hands on your knees, palms facing downwards. And I invite you to just roll the shoulders back and down and start to lead from the solar plexus. So elevating through the center of the torso and opening through the rib cage, through the chest, and allowing those shoulders to softly lower down towards the hips and backwards. So keeping our nice erect spine without straining or holding it in the shoulders. And from there, lengthening the back of the neck, reaching up through the top of the head and tucking the chin ever so slightly inwards. And I invite you to close your eyes here and come to a moment of awareness. Awareness of the breath. Let us use our breath as our entryway into our practice. Let's observe the unforced rhythm of inhalation and exhalation. Let this be our guide and our tool in cultivating presence on the mat. And as we observe that monotonous rhythm of breath, I invite you to begin to turn the attention away from the thoughts and ideas and worries that might be racing throughout your mind. And just let them begin to fade. And so to maybe visualize that process, let's imagine the mind here. Imagine turning the gaze inwards so you could observe your mind, your brain, matter. And perhaps see every thought and idea and distraction as like a firing light, a spark of light. And these chemical reactors and connectors, and they fire and connect and spark off each other. And just see that electricity in the brain. In any normal waking moment, the brain is fully alight, constantly firing. And I invite you to visualize now those lights starting to dim, perhaps come a little less frequent, and for the light to start to flow through the front of the scalp to the third eye. So the attention and the energy, the focus draining from the brain matter to the third eye. And now I invite you to concentrate that light in the area between the brows, on the forehead. Focusing on, once again, the flow of the breath, and with this, the light in your third eye. And so in this visualization of light, let us also enter into a moment in which we set an intention for our practice. And perhaps that intention can be around moving away from the restrictions of our thoughts or the distractions of our thoughts. And into the wisdom of our bodies. Into the functionality, the energy, the flow, the movement of our physical bodies. And keeping your eyes closed, on your next exhalation, I invite you to just draw your chin down towards your chest, stretching into the back of the neck. Maybe shifting the shoulders back once again, lengthening through the spine a little bit more if you became slightly rounded in our beginning meditation. And then on your next inhalation, just drawing your ear towards the right side. As you start to rotate with the neck, exhale, come down on the left side. Just do 3 full and steady rotations in each direction. Using the inhalation to draw in an upward motion to one side and the exhalation down. And when you've completed those 3 circles, bringing the spine back to neutral and maybe flicking the eyes, fluttering the eyes open. And coming to draw your left arm down on the outside of the left hips and drawing the right arm up and overhead. Looking on the inside of the right arm as you stretch towards the right side. If your elbow is not quite on the floor on the left side, that's totally fine. And from there, as I sort out the video, you can inhale and exhale over to the right side. So exhale down to the right side, drawing the right elbow down to the floor, left arm up and overhead. A slow start. On the next exhalation, draw your left arm forward, wheeling the chest, making your chest face forward, and then inhale and coming up on the other side. Let's exhale to close the body to the floor, making a lovely big circle with our arms, or semicircle with the arms, coming up on the left side. Exhale to close. Inhale to open. And let's complete the movement, going back to the right side. Inhale to open. Exhale to close, and bringing both your hands behind your hips, bringing your feet, soles of the feet together, pressing the outside of the feet into the floor as you inhale, and lift your hips up, drawing your bum towards your heels, and then opening your chest up towards the ceiling, coming into a gentle back bend, fingers pointing away from you, and you can soften your neck and look up towards the ceiling. Last breath here, inhale and exhale, drawing the bum to the floor. And you'll all be facing the front of your mat, so I'm just going to swivel to mirror you. And on your exhalation, you can draw your knees to the right. Inhale to center, exhale to left. And just flow with your breath here, windscreen wiping your knees a few times in each direction. And then drawing your knees back towards the center and fingers pointing in towards the hips, heel of the hand pointing back and behind you. Feet are hip width apart. On your next inhalation, engaging into the glutes and the mullah band, lifting your hips up into the reverse tabletop. Exhale, inhale, and exhale to lower the hips down slowly. Keep them at a hover off the floor, and then inhale to slide them back between your hands. Exhale. Inhale to come forwards and up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale to lower. Keep them at a hover, and then inhale to draw them back between your hands. Exhale. Inhale. Return to the reverse tabletop. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale to lower. Keep your hips at a hover, and then inhale to draw them back, straightening through the legs. Exhale. Inhale, draw the hips forwards, pressing your feet to the floor, engaging through the glutes. This will be our last round. On your next exhalation, lowering the hips, keeping them at a hover, and then inhale to slide back between the hands. And exhale, draw the hips back towards the center and plant them to the floor. Keeping your hands where they are, pressing the chest forward and drawing belly button into spine. Lift up your right leg and bring your legs to a figure of four shape. Pressing your right knee away from you, fire up the adductors and inner line of both legs, in particular the right leg, pressing to the big toe and ball of the foot on the right foot. Inhale to lift, exhale, inhale, and exhale to lower. Keep the hips at a hover, or if you need to, lower your bum to the floor. One breath, inhale, exhale, inhale to lift, exhale, inhale, exhale to lower, hover or bum to floor if you need to. We'll do it one more time. Inhale, exhale, inhale to lift, engaging, really pressing the glutes together. Exhale, inhale, exhale to lower, everybody bringing the bum to the floor, and then taking your left hand and placing it behind you towards the back right side of the mat. Reaching up with the right arm and continuing to engage in the right leg as you inhale and start to swivel over, facing the back of your mat with your right leg still in that in the figure of four shape. Coming into a down dog here with figure of four shape in the legs. Draw the right knee back, really press it back as you tilt through the hips and lengthen through the spine. Pressing forefinger and thumb, both hands into the floor, feeling that webbed part of your hand, the skin between forefinger and thumb, and really activating through that soft part of the skin. Last breath here, inhale. Exhale, lengthening through the back of the neck, softening the head. And then inhale, look forwards and come into your plank with the figure of four legs. Inhale and exhale to lower the body to the floor and slide your hands through into the Sphinx. Elbows under shoulders, spreading the fingers, offering the chest forward. Exhale. Try and make your right hip nice and heavy, pressing the right hip to the floor, trying to cover that gap that might be arising with a stiff adductor, stiff adductors and a stiff hip joint. And then also make your top of your left foot nice and heavy. Roll the shoulders back and offer your chest and shoulders to your chest and throat forward. Last breath here, inhale and exhale. Lower the chest to the floor then and place your hands under your shoulders, tucking the left toes underneath. On your next inhalation, return to your down dog as you lift up and then exhale to push back. From here, you can take your right leg and straighten it out. And as you do that, you'll find that your legs come into a cross. So the right is crossed in front of the left. And you might want to bring your feet to the middle of the mat. They might be off to one side. So just take a moment to do that. And then find your down dog with crossed legs. And continue to push the floor away. Continue to tilt through the hips and really press between the thighs. So this movement of firing up the inner line of the thighs is going to be consistent throughout our class. It's leading us to our peak pose. So we really want to activate the inner line. Another breath here, inhale and exhale. On the inhalation, look forward towards your hands and come into a plank pose with your crossed legs. Pause here, inhale and exhale, inhale. And on the next exhalation, either stay here in your plank or lower into a chaturanga, pressing into your toes, and then inhale to come back to your plank. Quite hard to do whilst I'm talking. So let's do that a second time. On your next exhalation, lower into chaturanga and inhale up into plank. Exhale back into the down dog with crossed legs. Inhale, bring the right leg forward, place it in the middle of your mat underneath your belly with the right toes going out to the right side. And then take your left knee and hug it in close behind the right knee. So knees kissing each other, and then lower the left toes to the floor out to the side. So my feet are touching the outside of the mat. Inhale to come up, engage through the glutes as you come to balance on your knees here. So again, squeezing intensively between the thighs. And then you want to come into your Garudasana arms, maybe testing your balance here. So we'll have the right arm as the underarm, the strong arm, and the left to wrap around. Bringing your palms together and pressing them against each other, or if that's inaccessible, the back of the hands against each other. Exhale, engage through the glutes, press the hips forward, and then inhale to lift the elbows up towards the ceiling, offering the chest upwards. Exhale, maybe coming into a gentle back bend and trying not to lose the engagement between the thighs because then the balance will go. Last breath here, inhale and exhale. Lowering the hands to the mat and then tucking your toes under, keeping the knees where they are, and then coming over onto the soles of your feet into a cross-legged squat. So again, squeezing between the thighs, and this time bringing hands to heart, hands in our Anjali Mudra, elbows out, and trying to sit up nice and straight as you draw the belly in towards the spine and press, make the soles of the feet, you're possibly on the balls of the feet, make them really active as you press into the floor, and maybe just come off your haunches a little bit, lifting a bit more intensely out of your seat. Another breath here, inhale and exhale. And then bringing your hands to support you as you sit down on your mat once again, bum in the middle of the mat. Let's do that sequence on the other side. So starting with your left leg at a figure of four shape. Left big toe and ball of the foot engaged. Heel of the hands pressing away from you And sorry, heel of the hands pressing in towards you, fingers away from you. On your next inhalation, lifting the hips up, drawing left knee down and engaging through the glutes. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale to lower the hips, either keep them to hover or bring them to the floor. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale to lift the hips, engaging through the glutes, drawing the left knee down. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale to lower, hover or bum to floor. Inhale. Exhale. This will be our third and last one with this movement. As you inhale, exhale. Inhale. And exhale, draw the bum to the floor, and then taking your left hand, draw it to the top left corner of the mat. Lift up with your right arm and engage in the adductors, engage through the legs, and inhale to lift yourself up, and exhale to swivel over into your down dog. You should be facing the front of the mat now with your left leg in a figure of four shape. Draw the left knee backwards as you tilt through the hips and press the floor away through your hands, fingers nicely spread. Exhale. Inhale, looking forwards, coming into your plank pose on this side. So one hip is definitely going to be different than the other. For me, that's my left side, old injury. So drawing that left knee up and away from the floor is that much more difficult and intense. Stay with it. And then exhale to lower to the floor. Making your left hip nice and heavy now as you press the top of the right foot on the floor. Coming into the Sphinx pose, drawing the shoulders back and down and offering the chest and throat forwards. And really breathing into that left hip, feeling as though there's a sense of spaciousness being created with that exhalation. And maybe drawing the left knee just a little bit down and out and away from you. So creating the physical space along with the mental. Last breath here, inhale and exhale. Lower the chest to the floor, bring your hands underneath your shoulders, tucking the right toes under and using your inhalation to press through plank back to your down dog. And then as you arrive there, lower your left leg to the floor, coming into the cross legs, the back of the mat, left in front of right this time. Spreading fingers, finding your down dog shape, tilting through the hips and activating through the inner line of the legs. Fingers are spread, neck is soft, head is soft, face is soft, chest is open, breathing is full and rhythmical. On your next inhalation, looking forward to your hands and coming into a plank with those cross legs, continuing to squeeze through the thighs, and the more active the whole of the legs are, the more strength you'll have here. As you exhale to lower to your chaturanga, if that's available to you, and then inhale to lift to the plank. Do that a second time. Exhale to lower to chaturanga. Inhale to lift into a plank. Exhale, finding your way back to the down dog. Inhale, left leg comes forward, placing the left knee slap bang in the middle of the mat and the left feet going out towards the right side. Then right knee comes in at the back of the left and right toes out to the left side. Engage the glutes, engage the thighs as you come up to balance on your knees. And then this time round, we'll do the other, your left arm will be the base arm and the right arm is going to swing under and around, bringing palm to palm or back of hand to back of hand. Keep engaging through the glutes, keep driving the hips forward. And on your next inhalation, shifting the gaze up towards the ceiling, offering the chest forward and pressing elbows up towards the ceiling. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. slowly coming out, trying not to lose the balance as you unfurl the arms and bring the hands back onto the mat. Tucking the toes under then, as we then draw the hands backwards and come into that kind of low curtsy. Squeeze the thighs together, press the balls of the feet and the toes into the floor, maybe achieving a bit of a lift, lifting out of the seat and bringing your hands into Anjali Mudra, elbows out, palms together. And just feeling the beating of the heart, maybe observing any thoughts rushing through the mind, and distancing yourself from those thoughts as you instead connect with the posture and connect with your breath. On your next exhalation, lowering your hands to the mat, bringing your knees to the mat, and then spreading your hands shoulder width apart, and exhale, returning to your down dog, unfurling the legs, coming into a conventional down dog. And if it feels nice for you, you can kind of pedal the feet, although we've already warmed up our hamstrings a bit through our mobility movements. Coming to stillness then in a conventional down dog, spreading the fingers, drawing belly into spine as you find that external rotation in the upper arms, pressing the scapula in towards the back and rounding ever so slightly in the upper chest. On your next inhalation, reaching right leg up and behind you, find your three-legged dog and try and close the right hip towards the floor so that they're evenly balanced. So it's parallel, hips parallel to the floor. And again, firing up the inner line of the right leg to hold this pose with integrity, weight evenly distributed over your hands. Inhale and exhale. On your next inhalation, bend into the right knee and draw it in towards your chest, rounding into the upper back, finding your jaguar, knee to nose. And then exhale to bring the right knee into a Garudasana, into kind of pretzel legs at the back of the mat. So right leg is wrapping around left. If you can't make the full pretzel shape, then just bring them into like a seated cross leg. And then again, tilting the hips. On your next inhalation, drawing left heel towards the left side of the mat. Inhale to bring right arm up towards the ceiling, stacking the shoulders up and pressing between the thighs to keep your balance. Exhale to bend your knees further, bringing the arm down, back towards the hips. And then inhale to try and straighten the legs a little bit as you stretch your arm up and over. Let's do that a second time as we exhale, finding more of a bend of the knees at the back of the mat. And then inhale to reach and lengthen. Exhale to close the body to the floor, and we'll swap over left heel to right side. Inhale to lift up through the left arm. This is the slightly more awkward side, so the bend and straighten might be less. So exhale, bend. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to bend. The more you squeeze, the more balance you've got. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to close the body, unfurling the legs, finding knees to mat, hip width apart, and finding your Anahatasana, your heart opening or puppy pose. Taking a few, let's take 5 deep breaths here. So either chin to the floor or forehead to the floor, hips over the knees. So that's the critical aspect of this pose. So you really want to drive the hips backwards as you lengthen through the spine and offer the chest towards the floor. Another full breath here. Inhale and exhale. Last breath here together and exhale. Inhale as you dome up and round through the scapula and rhomboids, and then exhale, bring your hands comfortable distance away from you, tucking toes under, back to our down dog. Exhale. So we're going to do that Garudasana, those Garudasana legs on the other side now. Inhale to lift up your left leg, closing your left hip towards the floor and finding the fire and strength for the pose on the inside of the left leg. So a teacher once said to me in three-legged dog, imagine as though there's a credit card between your thighs. And although they're separated to hold the pose, you want to feel as though you're literally holding that credit card up and in. That's how much squeezing and activation of the adductors there should be. On your next inhalation, bending into the left knee, drawing it in towards your heart as you bring knee to nose. And then exhale to bring the left leg over the right into your Garudasana legs. On your inhalation, draw right heel towards the right as we come to the slightly easier side first, lifting up the left arms. Squeeze between the thighs and find your balance. And then exhale to bend deeply into the knees, bringing the hand to the back of the mat. And then inhale to straighten the knees and stretch forwards. Second time, exhale. And inhale. Exhale to close the chest to the floor, bringing right heel to the left side, the more difficult side, as you inhale and reach up with the right arm. Exhale, squeezing and bending knees to the back. Inhale to straighten, arm goes overhead. Exhale to squeeze and bend. Inhale to straighten, arm goes overhead. Exhale to close the body to the mat. Unfold your legs. Last breath here, inhale. Exhale. Inhale, look forward to your hands and then walk your feet to the front of the mat. Bend into your knees and maybe come into a ragdoll here as you hold onto your elbows and sway from side to side. Feel the heaviness in the head and shoulders. And then come to still the body and open your feet nice and wide. So as wide as the mat or just before the edge of the mat. And then straighten your knees if that's accessible to you. If it's not, then keep them slightly bent as you bring your hands to the floor. Take an inhalation to lengthen and straighten through the spine. And as you exhale, start to twist towards the right side, reaching out towards the right, and then allowing the feet to swivel. So I'm coming onto the heels of my feet as I swivel to face towards the back of the mat. So now my toes are facing towards the back of my mat and my knees are crossed, my legs are crossed. And then I'm driving the knees back away from me and squeezing between the thighs as I bring my left hand under the heart and inhale to lift up with the right arm. Exhale, bringing the right hand under my heart on the floor and inhale to lift up with the left arm. Exhale, both hands to the floor. Lift and lengthen through the spine on the inhalation. And then exhale to turn towards the same side, rotating to the front again. Just realign your legs so they're parallel. And let's do the other side. So inhale to lift and lengthen through the spine, feet nice and wide. And exhale to look to the left and start to draw the body towards the left, lifting up the toes and rotating on the heels to face the back of the mat with the legs crossed. Press knee against knee. Try to straighten the legs. If they're a bit bent, that's fine. And you're feeling a deep, deep stretch over the right gluteus median, over the outside of the right hip. Placing your right hand to the floor between the heart. Inhale to lift up with the left. Exhale to close left hand to the floor under the heart. Inhale to lift up with the right. Exhale to close. Hands under shoulders. Inhale, lift and lengthen through the spine. And then exhale to swivel back towards the left side of the mat, finding our way back towards the front. Perfect. You can bring the feet together now as you bend into the knees and roll up vertebra by vertebra. Using the inhalation, the mindfulness to unfurl, bringing the head up last, facing towards the front of the mat. Let's inhale to lift and lengthen, bringing the palms together above us. And let's exhale to tilt through the hips, bringing hands before third eye and folding in. Inhale, straight legs, straight back, bending the knees and step back into your plank. Inhale. On your next exhalation, finding your chaturanga, up dog, down dog, or using your knees and flowing through gentle cobra. And then we'll all meet back in down dog. So find what works for you. And piking through the hips, and we all meet back in down dog. Full breath here, inhale, and exhale. Inhale, looking forward to your hands and walking your feet to the front of the mat. Exhale to fold in. Inhale to press through the floor and rise, reverse diving up. Exhale. Let's do that again. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Exhale, hinge from the hips. Inhale, straight back, straight legs, bending the knees and jumping if that's in your practice, or stepping, finding your chaturanga, up dog, or flowing through a gentle cobra. Using your knees whenever you need to. We all meet in down dog. Finding child pose at any stage. If you feel like the flow is going too fast, or you need a break, find your child pose. Exhale. Inhale, looking forward towards hands, bending the knees, and at the bottom of that exhalation, jumping or stepping. Exhale to fold in. Inhale to rise. Exhale. Let's do a third and last one. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, straight back, straight legs. Bend your knees and flow through your vinyasa, finding your edge, finding what works for you. Perhaps firing up the inner line of the thighs as you tilt and pike through the hips, transitioning from up dog to down dog. One breath here, inhale, and exhale. On the next inhalation, lifting up your right leg, three-legged dog, right leg elevated, closing right hip to the mat to find that the hips are parallel, pressing into the hands with even weight distribution. Press into the ball of the foot, spreading the toes and activating through the whole of the foot in what's known as a floint in yoga, halfway between a flex and a point. On your next inhalation, bending into the right knee, transferring it forward to the right elbow, and then exhale to kick back. Inhale, right knee to left elbow. Exhale to kick back. Inhale, right knee to right elbow. Hold it there. On your exhalation, lowering right knee to right wrist. And inhale, bring it over, right knee to left wrist, right knee to left elbow, and then exhale to kick back. Let's do that a second time. Inhale, right knee to right elbow, right knee to right wrist. Exhale, right to left elbow, and with the inhalation, and exhale to kick back. On the next inhalation, you're going to hug that right knee in towards the chest and bring the foot between your hands this time. Let's find our easy side angle, bringing the left hand on the inside of that right foot, firing up into the back knee and the back heel as you inhale to open your chest towards the right side of the mat, lifting up with the right arm. Exhale. Inhale. On your next exhalation, swiveling over to the outside of the left foot as you lower your hips, your left side of the hips to the floor, bringing the right arm over. So you're almost, it's like a soft collapsing posture, stretching deeply into the side of the hips. Inhale to dome up into the upper back, bringing the right arm overhead, letting it touch on the inside of the right foot. Exhale to open. Inhale as you draw belly into spine, round in the upper back. Exhale to open. We do it a third and last time. Inhale to draw in, rounding the upper back. Placing both hands on either side of that front right foot. Exhale to bend into the back knee, getting earthy, finding your stability, and then use the inhalation to kick up and find your standing split at the front of the mat as you reach into the left toes. And you can keep your hands for stability nice and widely placed at the front of the mat, or perhaps if it's in your practice, you're reaching for that right ankle. Up to you. And engage deeply into the left glute here. So the posture, standing splits, is predominantly led by the strength in the top leg glute. And the kick up through, the energetic kick up through the top of that lifted foot. On your next exhalation, lower your left foot behind you, about 1 meter behind the front right foot, and inhale to come up, facing the side of your mat, setting up for your Trikonasana. So right toes facing the front, left at a 90-degree angle to the right. Lock your hips to the side of the mat, engaging the glutes and opening through the chest, palms down. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, reach as deeply and as far as you can towards the right. And then exhale to come into your Trikonasana. Not worrying nearly as much about how far the hand goes down towards the floor as you do about how much you open the chest and rotate in the front part of the hips to face the side of your mat. And then from there, if it's in your practice, you can take your top left hand and bring it behind your back, bringing your fingers on the inside of the right thigh. So finding a bind to open the shoulders, and we'll need that for our peak pose. If that's not in your practice, then keep the left hands reaching up towards the ceiling. Last breath here, exhale. On the inhalation, bringing left hand onto the top hip. Exhale to bend. We're finding our half moon pose. So bending to find your stability and using the inhalation to lift out into the half moon balance. Again, we want the torso to be facing towards the side of the mat. And we really want to kick into the foot here to open the chest and find the balance. Now you can either stay here, focusing on your balance in the half moon, or if it's in your practice, you can close your chest to the front of the mat, lifting up your left leg, finding left hand to left foot and kicking into the sugarcane balance. So kicking deeply into the left knee and foot as they reach up towards the ceiling and you open your chest towards the floor. So either option is fine. Last breath, inhale, exhale. And then inhale to unfurl, bringing your left foot behind you once again, standing up. This time coming to the reverse triangle, so getting that rotation and that activation on the inner part of the thighs, facing chest front on. Back foot at a 45-degree angle as right hand goes to right hip. Inhale to lift up with right arm. Exhale to reach over your hips, tilting from the hips, bringing your left arm on the outside of the right foot and using the inhalation to twist and lift out of the pose. So you really want to engage into the soles of the feet to keep the balance in this pose, pressing into the back of your left knee and pressing and spreading the toes into the floor. And then as you distribute the energy into the feet and to the legs, you can open more expansively into the shoulders and chest. We're coming into the reverse half moon here. So as you inhale, bring your right hand onto your right hip. Exhale to bend into the legs and get earthy, get your stability, and then use the inhalation to kick out of the pose, finding the balance as you lift up your right hand and twist once again to the right side of the mat. Now, same principle here, either stay in the half moon balance, finding your balance, or finding your bind at the back. So left foot into your right hand and then kicking out of it. This is a more difficult bind to find and a more difficult one to hold. Just find your edge. Last breath, inhale. And then exhale to release that foot, bringing your left foot now far towards the back of the mat. And we want to get off this right hip. So we're going to swivel into our Skandasana at the back of the mat. So now we're totally releasing energy and relaxing into that right hip as you bring the inside of the right toe, foot over, inner part of the big toe on the floor, and then come to lengthen and straighten through the spine. Finding the breath here. And just enjoying that deep stretch into the side of the hip, and also pressing your right hip forward as you engage the right glute, feeling more activation there. Now you can either stay here in this balance, just focusing on stretching into the right hip, or if it's in your practice, take your right hand behind the right hip on the floor and come into a wild thing at the back of the mat. So engaging through the glutes, opening the chest. 2 breaths here, either in your Skandasana or in the Chakrasana. And then exhale to come out. Finding your way back to face the left side of the mat. And then we're going to inhale to lift the hips up. And we're now ready for our standing forward bend with wide legs. So you want to toes in, heels out. Take a deep breath in and then exhale to lower the shoulders. Bringing your hands, few options, either on the outside of your calves, elbows out, using the strength of the hands to leverage to draw you deeper into your forward bend. Or if you want to, you can bring your hands under your shoulders, palms to the floor, walking your hands back and away from the face as you tilt through the hips and lengthen through the spine. Find the option that suits you. And we'll take 5 breaths here. We've done 1 cycle, so let's flow through 4 more. Keep bringing the weight forward onto the balls of the feet, feeling the tilt in the hips, feeling the heaviness of the head. Coming into our last 2 full, lovely cycles of breath. Deep release in our last exhalation. Inhale to lift the head up, bringing the hands under the shoulders, straight back here. Micro bend into your knees to protect your hamstrings and lower back, and then bring your hands to your hips, elbows out, lift belly into spine, reach through the top of the head, and when you're ready, inhale to come standing up. And then we're going to come into a slightly longer hold of our side angle. So you want to first come into warrior 2. So feet are nice, widely spread, right toes towards the front, arms out, palms facing downwards. Checking in with that front knee, make sure it's over the front ankle. And you want to draw the right glute in and up, so away from the back of the mat, in towards the midline of the mat. And then you want to push the right knee backwards as well. So deep engagement in that front leg, and the energy pressing down and out in the top of that back leg. Exhale to bring your right elbow onto your right knee, left arm overhead. Option 1 for the side angle. Option 2 is to reach right hand down on the inside of the right leg, stretching arm, left arm overhead, or on a block if you have it at home, lucky you. And if that's comfortable and you want to go further, option 3, find your bind, bringing your left arm around, right hand around the rump of the body to find the bind, and then open the shoulder out, drawing the left elbow and shoulder away from you, looking up towards the ceiling. It's really opening hips and shoulders for our peak pose. Exhale, inhale. On your next exhalation, straighten into the front leg as you come into a bind, a Trikonasana bind. 1 breath here, inhale, exhale. Inhale to bend into that leg again. And then from here, pressing your right foot into the floor, use the inhalation to bring the left leg forward to the front of the mat. If you were not in a bind, in your side angle, you can now come now to the front of your mat, feet facing forwards, and bend into your knees as you find your bind here with the knees bent. So now that we're all here, there's an option to go further, either staying here, stretching into the shoulder, opening the chest out, looking to the left side. Or if you want to go further, press your left foot into the floor as you inhale and lift that right leg up, coming into our bird of paradise. So you want to engage into the inner line of that left foot onto the floor and use your next big inhalation to kick the right leg out. Last breath here, inhale, and then exhale to lower, and we come down the same way we went up. We're all meeting here at the front of the mat, and then we can all step back, left foot back, releasing the arms, placing both hands on either side of the right foot, stepping back into our plank pose. From here, you can come into the child pose if you need, or otherwise flow through your chaturanga, up dog, and then piking, squeezing between the thighs, down dog. Let's take 3 deep breaths here. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. On your next inhalation, you're going to lift up with your left leg. So now we're going to do the left side of the flow. We're all meeting here in our 3-legged dog, left leg elevated. Fire up the inner line of the left leg, tilt the hips to the mat, spread weight evenly over your hands. Exhale. Inhale and exhale. On your next inhalation, left knee to left elbow. Exhale to kick back. Inhale, left to right elbow. Exhale to kick back. Inhale, left to left elbow. Exhale, left to left wrist. Inhale, left to right elbow. Exhale, kick back. Inhale, left to left. Exhale, left to left wrist. Inhale, left to right elbow. Exhale, kick back. Inhale, left knee to heart, transferring the foot between your hands towards the front of the mat. Easy revolved side angle, right hand to floor, left arm lifts up. Find your balance as you engage through that right leg, back and behind you. Open the chest up. Exhale to come on the outside of the right foot, opening into the hips. Inhale, dome into the upper back, left hand meets left foot. Exhale to open and soften, melt, melting pose. Inhale to dome up and in. Last and third one, exhale to open. Inhale to dome in. And then from here, that's a really good question. Really not with it today. From here, we're going to press both hands on either side of the front foot, bend into the back knee with an exhalation, and inhale to kick up. Firing up into that right leg, finding the standing splits in the front of the mat. Hands can be spread as wide as the mat, or if it's in your practice, you're bringing your hands over the left, or should I say behind the left ankle. Finding that balance. Remember the right glute is your central strong point in the pose. Last breath here, inhale, exhale. Inhale to lift the chest and rotate the right leg back and behind you, about 1 meter behind the left. Inhale to stand up, and we're readying ourselves for the Trikonasana pose. Palms facing down, arms are spread. Engage the glutes, straighten and lengthen through the legs and back. Exhale, reach towards the left side, and then lower your left hand towards the left leg as you twist the chest towards the right side of the mat. So really making a tweak here as the top left hip rotates backwards and the lower top right hip rotates backwards and lower left hip rotates forwards. If it's in your practice, you're finding your right arm around the back and hooking on the inner left thigh. Still lengthen through the spine if you've got your bind. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. On the next inhalation, bringing the right hand on the right hip, and then exhale to bend into the knees, get earthy, and inhale to lift and lengthen into the right leg, half moon balance. Making like a ninja kick with that right top leg. The more expansive, the bigger the shape, the more balance. If you did it on the other, on your left, with the left leg lifted, you're going to do it on this side as well as you find your bind for your sugar cane pose. So what you do on the one side, do on the other. As you kick into the right foot, kick your right foot into your right hand and make the chest vulnerable towards the mat. So let the chest melt down towards the mat and lift through the top of the head to find more length in the top leg. And then when you're ready, you can exhale to release. And we all draw that right leg back and behind us, foot at a 45-degree angle. Inhale to come up. We're ready for our revolved triangle. As your left hand comes on your left hip, right arm reaches up and next to the body. Exhale, tilt from the hips, squeeze between the thighs, press the feet into the floor, and then inhale to rotate, coming into the nice twist. Make sure the knees are really active, patella drawing upwards, and the whole of the sole of the feet really active as you open the chest towards the side. Last breath here, inhale, and exhale. Inhale, making ourselves ready. As we bring the left hand on the left hip, exhale, get earthy, find your balance, and use the inhalation to transition to your revolved half moon balance, lifting up your left arm when you're ready. I find the revolved half moon much more difficult than the open half moon, and part of that is because it really requires of you to fire up that inner line, which is of the legs, which is our intention today. And then you're going to bend into the right knee, bringing left hand to right foot. If you did that on the one side, do on the other. Pressing foot into floor to find the kinetic energy to open. And then exhale to release. Reaching the right foot as far back as you can towards the mat. And then dissolving your way. Drawing the energy right to the back of the mat. As we come into a upward seated skandasana, closing the inside of the right foot to the mat and stand sitting, squatting up nice and straight, hands in Anjali Mudra. Finding your balance here. And then if it's in your practice and you did it on the one side, let's do it on the other. We've got our wild thing here at the back. So left hand on the outside of the left hip, inhale to open out. Exhale, another 2 breaths, inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale to close, facing towards the right side of the mat as you inhale, lifting the hips up, toes tilting in, heels tilting outwards. Inhale, lift and lengthen through the spine, and then exhale to fold in. Second time here, going deeper into the pose if you want to, or hanging out, hands over elbows, making it a soft pose and bending into the knees. Or if it's in your practice, you can come into your tripod headstand here. So we were really practicing this inversion last week. Here's an opportunity to enter with wide legs. So if you're doing that, remember you want to make the triangle shape between head and hands. So your hands at least 15 centimeters back from your head. And then you're going to tilt the hips up towards the ceiling, using the mulaband to inhale, lifting those legs up and engaging into the toes as you come into your balance. And then when you're ready, the exit with control. The key is to press your hands and head into the floor, press into the toes, and keep tilting the hips up towards the ceiling. Don't compromise the straight line of your spine as you draw the legs down. And then inhale to release the head, lifting up and reaching as far in front of you as you possibly can. Everybody can do this. It's like a down dog with super wide legs. As you soften your head, soften the chest, it should feel quite restorative. And you can bend the knees if you need to. Lovely variation on the down dog, particularly those of us who have sore or tight lower backs. And then inhale, looking forwards and bringing the hands under the shoulders once again. From here, bending micro bend in the knees, hands on hips. Inhale to come up with a straight spine. And now we can do that side angle on the other side with the left leg leading. So first, find your warrior two. Find your alignment, take your time, look down to that left knee, engaging into the left glute to draw the left glute in towards the body, in towards the right side of your mat. And then draw the left knee out towards the left side of the mat. And so find that strength and right alignment in the left leg. When you're ready, lowering your left elbow to left knee, bringing the right arm overhead for our first option. If you did it on the one side, let's find it on the other. Left arm on the inside of the left foot and reaching over, finding that nice side angle. Maybe lowering your hips slightly towards the floor to get the diagonal line and energetic line from fingers to toes. If you did it on the one side, let's find the bind here, right arm overhead, left hand to meet it. You can always hang onto your pants and or t-shirt here if also an option. And then opening the right shoulder towards the ceiling, right chest towards the side. Another breath here, inhale and exhale. Inhale, readying ourselves to come to the front of the mat. Exhale, bend into the right knee. Inhale to step forwards. And now everybody come to face the front of the mat. If you were in your side angle, bending your knees and sweeping your left arm on the inside of the left thigh, right arm over the top of the right side body and holding onto your t-shirt or pants or finding your bind. If you did the bird of paradise on the one side, let's do it on the other side, pressing into the right foot. Inhale to lift up with the left leg, really using the strength in that inner part of the left arm and the left shoulder to draw the left leg backwards. Find your balance and lengthen through the spine as you press the right big toe and inner line of the right foot into the floor. And then use your next inhalation to straighten out. Last breath here, inhale. And then exhale, lowering that left knee, lowering the foot to the floor. And from there, we all step back with the right foot, unfurling the arms, placing them on either side of the left foot, stepping back into plank, finding child pose or moving through your vinyasa. Hiking into the down dog. One breath here, inhale and exhale. On your next inhalation, looking towards your hands, bending the knees, exhale and jump feet forwards. Coming to the front of the mat, and then lowering your weight into your bum, into your heels, coming into a super low chair pose as you bring your hips down towards the mat. So the lowest possible chair pose, and then bringing bum to floor. Great. Whew. Quite a flow. So let's get to our 8 limb pose. So our bodies are ready and primed and open for this. So right leg in close towards the heart, right knee bent, left leg nice and straight. Inhale to lift and lengthen through the right side body and right hand, and then exhale, bring it forwards. And then start to bend into the right elbow as you draw it around the front, so it looks like that, of the right knee, and bring your left arm around to meet it. If you can't find the bind, you can use a strap or a t-shirt or a pair of pants or a scarf, anything. And then using that kinetic energy of holding hands onto something, onto each other or something, start to press your tailbone back and down and your hips into the floor as you reach through the top of the head. Maybe soften into the neck, looking down towards your knee. And trying not to crunch in too much. So this is a pose that you close into the body to achieve, but within those limitations, you want to find a sense of expansiveness through the chest. And then inhale to come up and release the arms as we come into a nice twist, taking your left, the crease of the left elbow over the front of the right knee, right hand behind you, heel of the hand in towards the seat of the body, opening the chest towards the side and looking over the right shoulder. Make sure the spine is nice and straight, and a nice trick here to achieving that, if you find that that's not natural for you, is to use the inner line of your right arm, your back arm, to press into the middle part of the spine, which might be where you're kind of rounding in here. Last breath, inhale, exhale. Inhale, facing forwards again. And then we're going to lift up the right leg and bring the right foot into the crease of your left elbow, right elbow on the outside of the right knee, and just rotate from side to side, just opening that hip out like rocking the baby. Try and sit up in the seat as you do that. Tilting forwards to the front of the pelvic floor. And then stopping and drawing the right knee back to the outside of the right shoulder. So this could be stage one, maybe for you. If you don't want to go further, you're opening the hips out, you're engaging through the core, keeping that leg lifted and drawing the knee back towards the shoulders. If you would like to go further, from here, you're going to tuck the right shoulder under the right knee. So it might serve if I do it kind of like at this angle. And then from there, you're going to bring your hands on the floor, shoulder width apart, and lift up your left leg and bring your left foot over the right. So remember, if your leg isn't as high as this, if it's somewhere here, like over the upper arm, you can still get into the pose. Still bringing the left leg over the right. And then, but I'm going to do this because I can. And then from there, you want to tilt your squeeze between the thighs already. Drawing the knees together and bring your legs out towards the side more. And then using this power of press with an exhalation into the floor and start to reach through the top of the head and really engage through the thighs, or we've been working through, and inhale to then lift and lengthen into your eight limb. So maybe try that a second time. And then we're going to either try it a third time or a variation. So lifting, squeezing, and then making the chest vulnerable to the floor as you continue to squeeze. So if this is in your practice or you did this with me on Tuesday, we can now find a variation. If your eight limb pose is in your practice or you did it with me on Tuesday, here's a different variation. So it's the same engagement in the body, but instead of hooking the legs over each other, you're taking that left leg and placing it under the right. You see my hands are just where they were before, in front of the hip, shoulder width apart. And you're really engaging into the back of the right, the back of the left calf here. And you want to feel the strength on the back and inner line of the right leg. So the same process. Exhale, press into the floor. Inhale to kick out with that leg, and then lower the chest, pressing onto the inside, the back side of your left calf. So I'll do it this way, maybe you'll see it better. So leg up, you're aligned like you're going into the 8-limb pose. Inhale to lift, and then exhale. There we go. And then lower down. Great. Let's do the other side. So left leg nice and close into the body, right leg straight. Sitting up nice and straight, reaching up through the left side body, left arm. Exhale, draw down on the inside of the left leg and back. Right arm overhead, find the bind, using whatever you need to achieve it, and then try to lengthen through the spine, pressing into the back of the bum and into the front of that right foot as you reach over the leg. Try to bring both bum cheeks on the floor. Maybe turning the gaze inwards, looking down towards your knee. Another full breath here. Inhale to lift and straighten up. Drawing your right leg close into the body, taking the crease, your left leg close into your body. The crease of the right elbow over the left knee, left arm behind you, and find your twist. So really hug the left knee in towards your torso as you look over the left shoulder. Keep the gaze steady and try not to strain through the neck, and try to soften through the face. So these arm balancing poses, because they take so much energy from us and so much inner fire and core work, we can sometimes strain in the body to achieve them. And so it's nice to have the forward bend and the twist to equalize the energy, cool the energy in the body, and let any strain you may have drain out. And then exhale, coming out of the pose, facing the front again, lifting up your left knee on the inside of the left elbow, left foot on the inside of the right, and just swivel to open out, opening the hips out, rocking the baby, tilting to the front of the pelvic seat, of the pelvic floor, to make sure we aren't bending into the lumbar spine. Then coming to still the body and drawing your left knee backwards towards the back of your shoulder, your left shoulder, and maybe just focusing on staying here if that's as far as you went on that one side, straightening through the spine and focusing on opening the hip out. Or if it's in your practice and you want to take the left leg over that left shoulder or upper arm, it's ready ourselves for our astra. So from here, hands to the floor, fingers spread. My hands are a little wider than my shoulders, not by much. And then lifting up the right leg, bringing right ankle over left, and then squeezing the knees together and drawing the feet back towards the left side body. Pushing the floor away with the exhalation, and then lifting with the inhalation and kicking out with another exhalation, and then lowering the chest. Maybe try it on a second time on the side, second bash. We think trying to keep everything even, right over left, squeezing knees together, activating the inner line, pushing the floor away, exhale, inhale to lift, exhale. And coming out. And let's try the variation on this side. So for this, super strong top leg, which is our left leg, and really feeling the pressure of a downward push on the left shoulder or upper arm. Then the hands are as they were, and then the right knee with the calf in towards that left arm. Inhale, exhale. There you can see it better on this side. It's the variation. Exhale to come out. Whew. So coming into the seat, let's just regain our breath here, and then we'll open the chest out before finishing our practice. So come into a Sukhasana seat, easy sitting pose. And let's just bring our right hand over the heart, left hand over the belly. Maybe closing the eyes, sitting up nice and straight. Just feeling the warmth of the touch of our hands on our torso, and tuning into the changing breath, the ever-changing rhythm of the breath. Observing the body here, observing the heat in the body, perhaps some sweat, perhaps the sensation of oxygen having been flushed throughout the body, perhaps a tingling in the limbs, whatever arises. Tuning in. And bringing that breath to become nice and calm. And letting the work and firing energy of the mind drain down into the third eye. Focusing on the third eye. Letting that calm the mind. Then drawing the hands forwards as you open your eyes, come up onto your knees, and we're going to do a nice soft kind of dynamic camel here to open up the chest after all that crunching in and abdominal work and lifting. So come into like you were preparing for the camel. We're going to do this nice and softly and rhythmically. So taking your left hand to the left knee, open up through the right side body, lifting the right arm, pressing glutes forward. And then exhale to close the chest and wheel forward, making as big a shape as you can. Inhale to opening up on the other side. Exhale to close in. So you can continue here with your own rhythm of breath. Going through a few more rounds. Using the inhalation to open up and the exhalation to close in. You can either continue for the last 2 full cycles going forwards, or find a full rotation, kind of stopping in camel, softening the head, and then exhale to close. Make sure if you are doing the full camel that you go in both directions. So you want to swap the direction. Otherwise, continue as you were. Finding your last round. Coming back towards the center. Hands under shoulders. And now 2 options for our final pose. First one, bum back to heels, knees nice and open, extended child pose. Second option is to come into your headstand. So I'm going to walk you through it if you would like to try it from home. If it's in your practice, please go ahead, get straight into your version. If you'd like to draw your mat towards a wall now, that's also an option. If you are a little bit wary of your balance in your home space, then do that now. And I'm going to demonstrate as though you had brought your mat close towards the wall. So this is kind of like the end of my mat, the mat to the skirting board. Interlock your fingers, hands nice and soft, elbows really strong. So a common mistake is the elbows splay outwards when the pressure of body comes onto shoulders. So you want to ensure that that doesn't happen by making a mental note syncopa, a micro syncopa, to keep the elbows where they are. Hands remain soft. And then you're going to place the crown of your head, so it's probably a little bit further over towards the back of the head than you might anticipate. So right to the top soft part of the head, in between your soft hands. And then inhale to lift your hips up. And remember, you can stop at any stage, so you don't have to go the full way. You could walk with me here to this point. And if you're at this point, you want to start to play with your weight. So you're going to start to feel lightness in your toes, and you want to do 1 foot at a time. And maybe you're just lifting up 1 foot at a time. Nice practice. And then maybe you start to feel when you lift up 1 foot that the other can come with it. Squeezing thighs together. And this here with the knees bent is the most powerful base you can have for a strong headstand. Once you have your balance there, take your time to find it. You then draw your knees up and then straighten. And you really want to find your line. So lift into the shoulders, making space around the ears. You probably need to bring your weight a little bit backwards. And the line is when you just feel a lightness as the joints stack up over each other. Hands are still soft, elbows still strong. If you're in your headstand and you want to do a variation, find the figure of 4 shape in your legs. It was one of our motifs for our practice. So starting with the right knee over the left, engage through the glutes and press the right knee backwards. Figure of 4 on the right side. And maybe then finding your figure of 4 on the left side. Engaging through the glutes, left knee goes backwards. Drawing back towards the center, bending into your knees. And when you are ready, coming down the same way, weight up. And then we all join together in a child pose for a few breaths. And so closing the attention inwards here, perhaps closing your eyes. Letting the breath be soft. Letting the face be soft. Feeling any tension around the forehead, the temples. Physically drain off the side of the scalp, off around the scalp, and down into the floor. So your skin was melting here. And then when you're ready, finding your way back, finding your way into your final relaxation. So knees out to the side, maybe getting something warm over you, perhaps a cushion under your knees or head, if that's what works for you. And slowly lying back into your corpse pose, into your Shavasana. And as you come to lie down on the mat, I invite you to have the feet nice and wide, hip width apart or further. Perhaps your hands are on the side of the body, palms facing upwards, away from the body. And feel that lovely support of the floor beneath you, the floor beneath your spine. And I invite you to close your eyes here. And let's take 3 releasing breaths together. So that is to breathe in through the nose and then breathe out through the mouth, making an audible sound through the back of the throat. Inhale through the nose and inhale through the nose. And our last one here, inhale. And then letting your breath settle back into its essential, unforced rhythm, that natural rhythm of inhalation and exhalation, as it falls, as it is. And I invite you to tune into the sensations of your body, the context of your physical being right now. I invite you to observe the sensations as they are, without judgment, without discrimination. And indeed, perhaps after your vinyasa practice, your limbs feel stretched and warm and healthy. Perhaps the joints feel lubricated, the chest flushed out. Lots of rejuvenation, oxygenation, and detoxifying having happened in the body. And I invite you to drink in this sensation, these sensations, this reality. And as you do that, I invite you to move into a feeling of gratitude for your physical being, for the way you moved today, for what you did today, this incredible, complex mechanism, our inexplainably magnificent vitality. And you feel that deep sense of gratitude in your body, physically, emotionally, mentally. Let that flood your being. And so knowing that all you did today and all you feel right now shall not ever be repeated, cannot ever be repeated. This moment and this feeling is entirely unique. And indeed, what a thing to celebrate. And in this gratitude, we find acceptance, a deep sense of contentment. I invite you to dissolve into these feelings. Lean into them. And gently start to move your fingers, perhaps moving your toes. When you're ready, taking a lovely long deep stretch, lifting your arms up above you, reaching into the fingertips, into the toes. Long, luxurious inhalation. And then keeping the eyes closed as much as you can and keeping this lovely soft reflective energy in a way that suits you and feels right for your body. I invite you to come up to a seated position, facing forwards like we began our session together. I invite you to bring your hands together in Anjali Mudra, joining left and right palm. And to join me in the universal vibration of let us find union in this moment across space and time. Taking a deep breath in. If you think you are free, you are free. If you think you are bound, you are bound. Meditate on the self, one without two. Exalted awareness. From our inspiration, the Astavakrasana Gita, and in gratitude to you for joining me this evening. Namaste.